I was a production supervisor for many, many, many years in heavy manufacturing. And when I got near retirement, I started thinking about, my wife and I were collecting woodworking tools. And I got interested in colonial ironwork. Going to various fairs and seeing demonstrators. I got interested in that, started reading books on it. Next thing I know, I'm buying blacksmithing tools, and my wife inherited all the woodworking tools that I had acquired. Then a guy that had worked for me, he knew a guy that was blacksmithing here, a guy named Paul Carlson. And as it turned out, Paul lived right near me. So I got introduced to Paul and started hanging out with him and coming up here. Now this was in 2004. And I've been coming here ever since. But for a while, anywhere that Paul went, I was like an apprentice for him. And we'd be in here with children's days and living history days. And I would be just working and sweating and trying to describe what I was doing to folks, and I just not clue what I was doing. And Paul would sit in the back of the room, and it was awesome because he was a bluegrass band banjo player. And he would tell stories and play his banjo, and I mean, we just had a ball, and he made me feel so comfortable. Eventually, Paul got ill and wasn't able to come anymore, and I've just kind of inherited the place ever since. And I've been working with the Tuesday crew for many years. Probably my most enthusiastic period that I had was working with the University of Maine students on the rehab of the Lombard. When they would take, during the winter time when they was working on that in the winter of 13 to 14, they would come up with metalwork that they would want hand forged, and they would come to me and I'd say, well, okay, you got to give me a drawing. So they would go away, they'd make a drawing and bring a drawing to me, and then I'd find old ironwork. I really liked old silo hoops because that was typically wrought iron. So I liked working with that. My friend Paul had got me started on that. And whenever we tried to find old wagon tires or silo hoop, we scarf them up to make various artifacts out of it. So ever since then, I've been working here and enjoying it. There's a nice crew, a bunch of railroad guys, and so there's people with various backgrounds so that we all complement one another on the various aspects of restoration work that we do here at the museum. And I've just been here ever since. They can't get rid of me. Most of the metal work, anything that has to do with metal, I usually inherit it. I either do work on it up here at the museum or I can take it home. I have welding equipment, I got machining equipment at home. So I can take it home and I can work on things at home and bring it in here and work on it in here and go back and forth. So my basic function here is the blacksmithing shop. We have other volunteers that are on a volunteer list for blacksmithing. So when we need more than one blacksmith, or if I'm not available, and we have some other guys that cycle through here that are good guys that we've had experience with in the past, and so we have a good time with that. I'm also a board member. I've been on that for 2 years now, and so I have to participate in those activities as well. My favorite is Children's Days in the spring. I really enjoy having all the kids come through, and that's usually a 3-day event. I have been especially impressed by the homeschool kids. The homeschool kids typically pay attention more to what's going on and ask better questions than the kids that are in the public school system. I think it's because the homeschool kids get a chance to get out and go view different items and have those activities. My favorite object in the collection that we have here is the blacksmith shop. This is what I like to do. I wouldn't want to do it as a way to make a living. It is very labor intensive, and my skill level is not artistic. So I do a better job on restoration work, making copies of things, and things of that nature. I do a better job of that, so that's where I try to stick with my focus. What is the most unusual object in your collection? Probably the Lombards is the most unusual. You're going to look far and wide to find an operating steam Lombard. So that probably is our most unusual artifact that we have here. The biggest challenges your organization faces. That's trying to maintain the facility with very limited funds. It's probably our biggest concern. This year especially has been very trying to us because we haven't had any paying events. So that has been a real challenge. Fortunately, I mean, we have a good base of volunteer people, so we're able to keep the museum going. We have open doors for people to come in for self-guided tours, so we encourage that. We also try to push, make sure you leave a donation in our donation boxes that are scattered around the grounds.